protesters and federal agents clashing in Southern California over recent ICE arrests. This video showing the violent confrontations outside a federal building in downtown LA. Police cracking down on protesters, declaring it an unlawful assembly, ordering the crowd to go home.
JEJE vibe, JEJE vibe, JEJE vibe.
It's JEJE vibe.
Feel the vibe, feel the vibe, you feel the vibe.
I'm feeling it.
You like the vibe, you like the vibe, you like the vibe.
It's JEJE vibe.
JEJE vibe, JEJE vibe, JEJE vibe, JEJE vibe. Ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to JEJE Vibe.
We're back.
You know I got my amazing queen with me.
Thanks, my love. The amazing host.
You know it's the host with the most, Lewis and Gabriel in the building. If you're new to the channel, you know what to do. Hit the like, subscribe, share the video, invite a friend, a family member, whoever. Let them come and enjoy the vibe.
It's a family affair.
As in, where would you rather get your information from? You guys see what's happening in LA? It's on. I think we're way past LA's on fire right now, but LA is going crazy.
LA is blazing.
LA is still blazing.
Protesters by the hundreds spread to the freeways in and around downtown Los Angeles, blocking traffic. A series of federal immigration sweeps sparked heated protests across the city for the past 2 days.
Nearly 300 National Guard troops have arrived under orders from President Donald Trump. It's the first time in decades that a state's National Guard has been activated without a request from its governor.
We talked about the fire, but this is a different one now. This is more like a riot. And it's been 2 days ongoing where people or residents or people in LA are fighting back the ICE agents, not allowing them to do or carry out their jobs.
Yes.
And this is not looking good.
And then the ICE agents now going to home renovation stores now to raid people.
Crazy.
That's not cool.
Crazy.
That's lazy work.
Crazy. Crazy.
Multiple people getting detained by Homeland Security. This is at the Home Depot parking lot off Westchester and Burlington near MacArthur Park. It's still unclear how many people were detained and for what reason.
So this is extending for days now, and it's really crazy in LA. The footage or the videos we're seeing right now doesn't look good. It's chaos. Fighting the law enforcement, and it's looking like the law enforcement is still trying to get control of the crowd, but it's looking like it's not even going down. People are still out there protesting.
Hey, and they also talk about some new law enforcement that they don't even know the name associated with the agents.
Crazy.
Over in the Fashion District, another raid, this one at Allianz Apparel headquarters. U.S. Attorney Bill Esali explaining the federal agents were there serving a search warrant because they believed some workers had fake documents. That's where NBC4's Lolita Lopez spoke with a woman in the crowd.
Honestly, it was starting to get pretty aggressive, and people were pushing. They were pushing back. They're trying to open the gates right now, and I don't know. I guess they threw tear gas to open up the space.
And did it catch you?
Yeah, it caught a lot of us. There was kids, there's dogs, there's elderly people too.
Would you tell us what you know about what's been happening here this morning, how the president of this union is involved? Why do you think he's also being detained? What can you tell us?
Sure. There are multiple immigration raids by different federal agencies. Here at this one, we spotted FBI, DEA, HSI. This is a manufacturing company with multiple locations. At this particular location, as you can see, many activists have shown up because they heard about a raid. Maybe some workers might be affected by this. We don't know how many. And earlier, there was a problem here because there's so many activists that they actually arrested and took a union president, David Huerta from SEIU, USWW, the janitors union.
So this is not looking good. This is not looking good at all. LA And this is beginning to spark nationwide.
You hear the chants echoing down State Street right now as we just passed ABC 7 studios. I'm going to step out here and show you what we're seeing at the front of this protest that has marched all the way down from Ida B. Wells and Michigan Avenue as they have continued to protest the Trump administration. We have seen a few hundred people out here marching their way through downtown. Everything has remained peaceful to this point. Cops have surrounded this entire protest with bike patrols and foot patrols. Many of these protesters telling us that they just want the Trump administration to hear them out, and they will continue to fight for that.
Anti-ICE protesters taking to the streets of Seattle once again, marching from Cal Anderson Park to the federal building downtown. This all comes just a day after a demonstration there ended with American flags being burned and 2 arrests.
And from the news, they're saying the percentage of ICE agents being assaulted or threatened or not allowed to carry out the job is increasing 400%. That's not good. That's not good.
Friday, ICE agents arrested dozens of people, sparking the protests. By Saturday, law enforcement in riot gear needed tear gas and flashbang explosives to dispel crowds. The added manpower has only deterred some from speaking out. A group of protesters were seen shouting at several armed troops in downtown LA on Sunday. Critics say the deployment of the National Guard is an abuse of power.
We have a president who is moving this country rapidly into authoritarianism.
The move comes despite objections from California Governor Gavin Newsom, who is warning that it could escalate tensions between protesters and authorities. According to the Brennan Center for Justice, it is the first time in decades that a state's National Guard has been activated without a request from its governor.
The president sent the National Guard. It's looking like that is what the next step is right now. So
another explosive night in Southern California as protests continue over immigration raids. Police and crowds facing off in Los Angeles and Orange County. This morning, law enforcement is gearing up for a 5th day of unrest. Here's a look at the latest developments. President Trump is mobilizing an additional 2,000 National Guard members to help protect federal buildings in LA. Now, that doubles his initial deployment. Also, 700 U.S. Marines are headed to LA. The Marines are from an infantry battalion based in 29 Palms. The LAPD says more than 70 people were arrested over the weekend and 5 police officers were hurt. The Trump administration's decision to put more boots on the ground is being met by strong criticism from LA leaders.
I think we should calm it down in order for us not to lose anybody's or anybody should lose their life on this.
Just hours ago, a judge ruled that Trump broke the law and seizing control of the Guard. Then minutes ago, a second judge ruled the troops still belong to Trump. This battle came after a day-long war of words between Trump's Homeland Security advisor and LA Mayor Karen Bass over ICE raids. The California National Guard remains in President Trump's control. A late evening appeals court ruling handed him the victory, overturning a federal judge who sided with Governor Newsom just an hour before.
There's no invasion. There's no rebellion. It's absurd.
The judge's ruling comes as Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem arrived in L.A., blasting Governor Newsom and L.A. Mayor Karen Bass after days of protests, claiming the feds won't back down, plan to ramp up their raids, and have names of tens of thousands of people to arrest.
We are not going away. We are staying here to liberate this city from the socialist and the burdensome leadership that this governor and that this mayor have placed on this country.
National Guard troops have not been out in the streets of downtown LA, but they are helping with immigration enforcement operations.
This president has repeatedly said that he's going after criminals and the worst of the worst.
But according to new numbers released by the Trump White House, that statement is false. So far, of the 330 arrests since Friday in Southern California, just 113 have criminal records.
It's crazy.
Protests that started in Los Angeles against the Trump administration's immigration crackdowns are expanding to other cities. Meanwhile, the head of Homeland Security says the unrest will not stop ICE agents from carrying out deportation raids. Elise Preston has the latest, including the removal of a U.S. representative during a Homeland Security news conference.
Okay, I want to know why you insist
So I want to say thank you to every single person that has been able to do this.
Hands up, hands up.
Federal agents forcibly removed California Senator Alex Padilla from Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem's news conference in Los Angeles Thursday after he interrupted her.
I'll have a conversation with him and visit and find out really what his concerns were. I think everybody in America would agree that that wasn't appropriate.
A spokesperson for Padilla says he was handcuffed at one point but is not currently detained.
If this is how the Department of Homeland Security responds to a senator with a question, you can only imagine what they're doing to farm workers, to cooks, to day laborers.
Noem went to Los Angeles in support of the Marines and National Guard troops the Trump administration called in to protect federal buildings and personnel in Los Angeles as anti-ICE protests continue.
I want to thank the Marines, the National Guard, our soldiers, our military men and women who have shown up here to help make sure that we have security.
The Trump administration says of the hundreds of undocumented migrants arrested in the LA area since operations began on Friday, about a third have prior criminal records. At an event Thursday, President Trump acknowledged the toll his immigration policy is having on the farming and hotel industries.
You know, they have very good workers. They've worked for them for 20 years. They're not citizens, but they've turned out to be, great. And we're going to have to do something about that.
The president said changes will be coming, but did not elaborate.
We're going to be observing this case as it unfolds, and we'll keep you guys updated. See you guys in the next one. JEJE Vibe, JEJE Vibe, JEJE Vibe.
It's JEJE Vibe.
You feel the vibe, you feel the vibe.
The man mistakenly deported to a notorious prison in El Salvador, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, is now back in the U.S. facing charges now, accused of transporting undocumented migrants. His attorney calling the charges, quote, preposterous.
Tonight, protests escalating into conflict in Los Angeles as the Trump administration's aggressive deportation efforts spark fear and outrage across the country.
You cannot just come into the community and terrorize citizens the way you did.
An ICE raid in Paramount today devolving into chaos. Dramatic aerial footage showing protesters blocking a bus carrying officers. Police in riot gear dispersing crowds with flashbangs and tear gas. The FBI vowing to find people they say threw rocks at law enforcement vehicles. And in New York, video showing this man, which the Department of Homeland Security identified as Joaquin Rosario Espinal of the Dominican Republic. Authorities say Espinal resisted arrest following the dismissal of his immigration proceedings. He and another woman who allegedly assaulted an officer were arrested, authorities say, despite interference by members of the public. The Department of Homeland Security calling for an end to the violence against ICE officers who they claim are facing a 413% increase in assaults when carrying out arrests. The tensions reaching a breaking point just as Kilmar Abrego Garcia arrives back in the United States. The 29-year-old Salvadoran man from Maryland became a symbol of Trump's immigration crackdown after the administration admitted to mistakenly deporting him. The government of El Salvador agreeing to his release to face charges. Abrego Garcia now the subject of a 2-count federal indictment. Those charges stemming from this 2022 traffic stop in Tennessee, where Abrego Garcia was pulled over driving an SUV with 9 other people inside.
He's hauling these people for money. You got an collar, is what he's doing.
The Department of Justice alleging Abrego Garcia was part of a human smuggling ring responsible for transporting drugs, weapons, and migrants, including MS-13 gang members. His attorney called the charges preposterous, and his wife had previously denied he had any affiliation with the gang. With sources tell ABC News that the decision to indict Abrego Garcia led to the abrupt resignation of a top federal prosecutor in Tennessee. His departure prompted by concerns the case was being brought for political reasons.